Joining me now, James Freeman, assistant editor at the Wall Street Journal, Fox Business contributor, co-author of the newly released book, which we recommend to you highly, Borrowed Time, 2 Centuries of Booms, Busts, and Bailouts at Citi, and a few other banks as well. Good to have you here, James.
Good to be here. Thanks, Lou.
Let's start with this contretemps, if you would, between the president and the Fed. The president's saying that they basically are putting trying to put the country into a ditch by simultaneously, he didn't say it quite this way, but simultaneously winding down over $4 trillion on their balance sheet, and at the same time trying to save off the menace of inflation, which is running now, James, at what rate would you say?
Yeah, just a little above 2%. So his argument maybe got a little better this morning than it was last night when we got that consumer inflation number. It was reassuringly not too high. I mean, personally, I'd love zero. I think stable prices should be the goal. But in terms of what the Fed says they want, it was pretty close to dead solid perfect. So he does.
So why the heck are they raising rates?
Well, I think it is a positive thing that we are going back to a normal economy from sort of the Obama era ideal or actual situation.
Did you say an Obama ideal?
Where you had this crummy economy and the only fuel was printing lots of money, very active Federal Reserve. So it's good the Fed has now stepped back. The real economy has been allowed to grow. This transition is working.
I'm shocked that with this great affection suddenly for interest rate hikes, that the Wall Street Journal editorial page, if I may say, and other savants were not urging President Obama and before him, the man who created stimulus, why you guys weren't calling for higher interest rates in the midst of the Great Recession.
Well, I think if you
just like Roosevelt did. I
think we have frequently, Lou, over the years, with administrations from both parties, we have criticized loose monetary policy. We criticized the early 2000s into the mid 2000s. So look,
what are we trying to do?
I'm not.
Can you ever tell me one example where raising interest rates, as the president says, he doesn't mention this part, but I will.
Yeah.
Raising interest rates in the absence of inflation is idiotic.
It's not the absence of inflation; it's low inflation. So what we want is back to normal. Look, this is a statement on the success of the Trump economic agenda, right?
Simple for me, okay?
Okay, so
the Fed has its target perfect, right?
Little bit above their target.
Almost perfect. Okay.
Very close to perfect.
Now, what should they do? Raise interest rates again?
What they want is to keep stable prices, and what's encouraging them to keep raising.
That's not stable prices, 2% inflation.
Again, by their definition, it is. I think zero would be perfect, but they like 2, and it's pretty close to 2, and they feel like to maintain that, given the strength of the economy.
Is the president right, or is he not?
No, I don't think he's right. It's certainly they're not. He called them crazy and loco and wild. They're not that. I don't think they should be above criticism.
I mean, that's like calling the editorial board of the Journal crazy, loco, and wild.
How about this?
That's just not apt.
I think the Powell Fed is doing a good job, and the president is doing a good job on the economy.
And Yellen's.
This Fed and Yellen?
This Fed seems to be being forced to learn the lessons that the Yellen Fed learned at its beginning of her chairship. And that is, you don't raise rates for the hell of it. And this is the fundamental issue here.
I think the encouraging news is that this looks like an improvement over the Yellen Fed, because it looks like Powell wants to get back to a normal economy, a normal financial system where the Fed isn't playing such a huge role. And part of that is shrinking their balance sheet. They took an enormous role in the economy. People felt like there was going to be no good incentive coming out of the other side of the government during the Obama years, and so that we needed the Fed to be this active. We don't anymore. We're allowing the real economy to grow. They're doing the right thing.
They're doing the right thing. And so how's that going to affect interest rates?
They're going to climb a bit, but as you know,
this is one other example then. Can you tell me a time in which the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates that the result has not been recession?
Look, there have been many times when we have had higher rates than we have now, absolutely, and a good economy and a good market.
That's not what I asked. I said, when they begin raising rates, what is the ultimate result?
You're saying they always kill the economy when they raise
I didn't
rates?
say kill the
even
economy.
the
I
Fed
said
isn't
create
that
a
bad.
recession. Kill economy is a little
They may
draconian for a journalist of your nuance.
look.
I gotta go.